Start recording. Okay, so the red zone uses Roman numerals. If we don't know the charge for iron, we're going to use a Roman numeral to tell us what the charge is. We'll use a Roman numeral 2 if the charge is 2. We'll use a Roman numeral 3 if the charge is 3, okay? So the Roman numeral, what does it do? It tells us the charge. So red zone, Roman numeral tells us the charge. If something is not in the red zone, we will not use a Roman numeral. And I'd like you to chat with your neighbor for a minute and take a look maybe at groups 1, 2, and 3, which are not in the red zone. And think about maybe why we don't need to use a Roman numeral for groups 1. Let's just start with group 1. Why would we not need to use a Roman numeral for these guys here? Why would we not need to write sodium 1? Think about that. Have a chat about that. What do you guys think? Why no Roman numeral for group 1? Yes. We only have one possible charge. How many valence electrons do group 1 elements have? 1. They all have one valence electron. So when they become an ion, what do they do with that one electron? They lose it. And if they lose it, if you lose an electron, what charge do you become? Positive. You become positive. So all of group 1, and if you want to, you can write this down, but I'd like you to do it in pencil because this is kind of like training wheels. Okay, what I'm going to write down right now is training wheels. And you can decide whether to keep the training wheels on all the time or whether you want to erase it and take the training wheels off at some point, okay? So what you're going to do is in pencil, and if you need to borrow a pencil, I do have pencils. Remember, I can lend you one. You just need to give it back. Okay, this is plus 1. So everything in column number 1 is plus 1. So do I need to tell you that it is sodium 1? Or do you already know that? You already know that. It's like in this class, I have 3 Sophias. Yes? So when I say Sophia, I'll usually say Sophia D or Sophia Kim or Sophia K because I need to distinguish which one I'm talking to. Yes? But I do not need to say Lena R. I do not need to say John L. Yes, because there's only one John and one Lena in this class, so I don't need to distinguish them by their last initial, okay? So just like we use the Roman numerals for the ones we don't know. So for example, iron, and don't write this down because this is not going to be helpful. Iron can be plus 2 or plus 3. Manganese can be plus 1, plus 2, or plus 3, or plus 4, or plus 5, or plus 6, or plus 7. Whoa. Yeah? So you have lots and lots of options. So we're not going to write them in because it's not particularly helpful, okay? But for group 1, they're always +1. So they don't need a Roman numeral. Group 2, how many valence electrons in group 2? 2 valence electrons. So in order to empty their shell, what will they do with those 2 electrons? They will lose them. And if you take away 2 negative things, what charge do you become? 2 positive. Okay, so column number 2, again, in pencil, you can write +2. And we haven't really learned much about group 3 because they are in the transition metals. So you're just going to have to believe me on this, that when they form ions, they form plus, can you guess what? 3. So if at some point you decide you would like to memorize these, okay, it's really as easy as 1, 2, 3, right? What's the charge of column 1? 1. What's the charge of column 2? 2. What's the charge of column 3? 3. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Yes? Now we have all our red zone ones, and those are the ones we're going to use the Roman numeral to tell us the charge. But you'll notice in the middle of the red zone, before we hit the non-metals, there's like a little mini staircase in there, yes? Okay. I'm going to give you a chance to guess what the charges of these elements are. I will give you a hint. We have 1, 2, 3 things in this column. And there's 1, 2 things in this column. And there's 1 thing in this column. And remember I said remembering them will be as easy as 1, 2, 3. Can you guess the charge of silver? +1. So if you want to, in pencil, you can write +1. Can you guess the charge of zinc and cadmium? +2. And how about aluminum, gallium, and indium? +3. Now you'll notice our red zone is only includes metals. It includes metals, transition metals, except for group 3. And it also includes some metals down, like sort of under the staircase area. But the red zone does not include any non-metals. So you'll never be using a Roman numeral for fluorine, say, or sulfur. None of the non-metals use Roman numerals. But one thing you can do is you can, since we're here predicting charges, how many valence electrons in fluorine, which is group 17? There are 7 valence electrons in fluorine and all the other halogens. What does it need to do to fill its shell? Gain 1. What's charge? -1 because it gained 1. So all of group 17, if you want to write this in, their charge will be -1. And you remember I said it would be as easy as 1, 2, 3. So here's the 1. Where do you think the 2 goes? To the left, -2, and then -3. If you forget that, you can say oxygen has 6 valence electrons. Sorry, 6. There we go. What does it need to do to become stable? Gain 2. If it has 6, it needs to gain 2, which would make it -2. Nitrogen has 5. It needs to gain 3, so it would be -3. Okay, so you can feel free to have those on your periodic table, but also if you're feeling like you're up to the challenge, erase them when you are ready. Okay? You don't have to ever erase them. You can just leave them there. But I'm just saying, if you want that option, if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, you can, okay? Okay, so here we go. We have this. That tells us the Roman numerals, that tells us the charge. And now we're going to go to, I think it's 4.1D, which is on page 20? Page 20. You could be British about it and you could be like, the water closet. That's what they call it in Britain, the WC. They also call it the loo. Yeah? WC. They don't usually call it water closet, but they'll call it the WC, which stands for water closet, but I don't think anybody actually says water closet. They always say WC, even though that's probably longer than water closet. Yeah. But I think they're more likely to call it the loo. Yeah. Alrighty. What is the charge of group 1 metals when they form ions? Group 1, +1. Group 2, +2. These particular metals and other ones that only have one charge are referred to as monovalent. Do you know what the prefix mono means? Mono means 1. And valent refers to the charge because it has to do with the valence electrons. Okay? So a monovalent metal has only one possible charge. Sodium is always going to be +1. Beryllium is always going to be +2. There's no choice in the matter. It's like I only have one Tavian in the class. He's never going to be Tavian Smith because that's not his last name, right? There's only one. So if we have only one possible charge, should we use a Roman numeral? No Roman numeral. Okay, so group 1 is monovalent. It only can be +1. Group 2 is monovalent. It can only be +2. Group 3 is monovalent because it can only be +3. That little bitty staircase, the silver, zinc, aluminum, gallium and indium, cadmium, these little guys here, they are monovalent, so they do not use Roman numerals. However, almost all the other metals, that includes your transition metals, the lanthanides, the actinides, and a bunch of the other metals under the staircase, they can have more than one possible charge. And one of the prefixes meaning more than one is multi. Multi means more than one. And valent means charge. So multivalent metals have more than one possible charge. And if they have more than one possible charge, where will you find them on the periodic table? Where will you find your multivalent metals? In the red zone. And because they can have more than one possible charge, we need to use a Roman numeral to tell us the charge. Now, it used to be we did not have a color photocopier. So I made all my students get a red pencil crayon and shade in the red zone on their periodic table. You just got it beautifully like filled in all to the edges and everything, okay? So here's our red zone. You will sometimes hear it referred to as the gray zone because we haven't had a color copier in the past, and so the zone was gray. So red zone, gray zone, they're the same thing, okay? So red zone, these are multivalent. I'm going to guess that some of you might need a little brushing up on your Roman numerals. Am I right? Does everybody know their Roman numerals like 1 to 8? Some of you do. Okay. It depends on who you had in elementary school, right? Like if your teacher was into that kind of thing, maybe you learned them, maybe you didn't. We are going to learn all the Roman numerals from 1 to 8. Let's see where a good place to do that. We're going to do it at the bottom of the page here. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 1 is easy. It's just the letter I. Can you guess what 2 is? I. And 3? I. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Now, I'm not going to do 4 yet, because we're going to skip ahead to do 5, because 4 kind of depends on 5. Does anyone know what 5 is? 5 is a V. Now, if we look at number 4, 4 is one number before 5. IV, exactly. So you put a 1, an I, before the 5, the V. 6 is 1, whoops, I should write 6. 6 is 1 after 5. So what would 6 be? VI, because there's a 1 after the 5. And then 7 is 2 after 5. So it would be VII because we have a 2 after the 5. And then 8 would be VIII, 3 after the 5. Yes. Yes.
Why would 8 be like IIX?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure why they went that way. Because 9 is IX. I just don't know. It's a very good question. And to be honest with you, some people do 4 as I, but not in chemistry. No. Okay. So let's take a look at a couple of examples that will let us figure out how to do this. So iron is in the red zone, and it will require a Roman numeral. So for example, iron can have a charge of +2, or iron can have a charge of +3. Remember, what does the Roman numeral tell us? It tells us the charge. So if we have iron 2+, we write the Roman numeral 2. If we have iron 3+, we write the Roman numeral 3. Now, just below here, there's a lovely little summary of steps. I'm not going to go through the summary right now, but when you're doing the problems, you can refer back to this little box because it gives you all the steps. We're just going to try an example, okay? And the example is all written out for you. So if you don't want to write it down, you don't have to. I am going to go over here and do the example live so you can watch how the steps work, okay? So the first thing we would do is we would look and we would say, I have iron, and iron is in the red zone. Therefore, we need a Roman numeral. Step number 1, we're going to look at the subscripts, the 2 and the 3, and we're going to say, what does this 2 tell us? What does that little 2 tell us? It tells us the number of Fe atoms. Yes. No. So if I were drawing this structure, I would say, okay, I got Fe and I got Fe. All right. Now the little 3, what does the little 3 tell us? Yes. What does the number 3 tell us? And then you can go to the washroom. No.
Oh wait, which one?
This one here. Yeah. Okay, this is the number of oxygen atoms. Yeah? So if we were drawing iron 3 oxide, we would say we need an O and an O and an O. I would actually want that to be touching there, but you know, there we go. So that's Fe2O3. You would not need to draw this. That's just to give you an idea of what it would look like, okay? What you will do is you will say, I have 2 irons, so I'm going to write Fe and Fe. I have 3 oxygens, so I'm going to write O, O, O. So you're going to write out the number of each atom. And then you're going to say, hey, I know something about all my non-metals, all my anions. If I go to my periodic table, I know the charges of all my anions. I know that oxygen, for example, is -2. Okay? And I always know that oxygen is always -2. Fluorine would always be -1. Nitrogen would always be -3. You can always know the charge of the non-metals. So if I know the charge of the nonmetals, I can write that down. On each oxygen, I'm going to say oxygen is 2 negative, 2 negative, 2 negative. Then we're going to add them up. If I add 2 negative and 2 negative and 2 negative, what do we get? We get 6. 6 negative. But we know compounds must be neutral. So what's the total charge of the compound going to be if it's neutral? 0. So I need to have 6 negative. I need to add something else to that to get 0. What do I add? 6 positive, yes? Well, that's good. Where did that 6 positive come from? Well, it came from my 1, 2 iron atoms. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that 6 positive and we're going to distribute it onto the 2 irons. What was the charge of each iron atom in order to give us 6 plus total? 3. So we have 3 positive and 3 positive. If I add 3 positive and 3 positive, I get 6 positive. So you find the charge on the nonmetal, you add them all up. The positive charge has to equal and be opposite to the negative charge, and then you spread the positive charge out onto however many atoms you have. And now we're going to write the name. We write iron, and it's in the red zone, so it needs a Roman numeral. We put the Roman numeral in brackets. And then oxide. What does the Roman numeral tell us? The Roman numeral is the charge, and it's the charge on a single iron. Not both the irons, but just a single iron. So if we go look, let's go find that. Oh, here's the charge on a single iron. It is 3 plus. So that is going to be iron 3 oxide. Okay? I'm going to do one more example, but if you feel like you've got it and you just want to go ahead and practice, There is practice in 4.1D and 4.1E. Okay, and you should do those before you feel ready to do quiz number 4. Okay? I'm going to do one more example though. Yes. Yes.
So the question where you know how to like calculate.
Hmm?
So for quiz form, I know how to calculate.
Were you asking if you need a calculator?
Just be able to do that.
You'd just be able to do this, yeah. I mean, there's not much else to it. Also, you need to know when to use a Roman numeral and when to not use a Roman numeral. But that's pretty easy if you have your red zone in front of you. You get to use your red zone periodic table, okay? So you're like, oh, red zone, Roman numeral, not red zone, not Roman numeral, okay? Let's do one more example just to get you going. Like I said, if you're ready to do quiz number 4, you can go do quiz number 4 if you want to practice and you don't think you need me to walk you through any more examples. You can just ignore me and go on your own way. But we're going to do one more together if you want. Start by looking at the subscripts. Zidane, could you close the door for us, please? Thank you. So we start by looking at the subscripts. Copper, 3. So we write down Cu, 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 3 of them. Nitrogen has a 2. That means we have 1 nitrogen and a second nitrogen. We need to know the charge of somebody. Who do we know the charge of? We know the charge of the non-metal. We can go look it up on our periodic table. Here's nitrogen. It's in the -3 column, so its charge is -3. Again, this example is written down for you if you just want to follow along and not write, okay? So nitrogen is -3, so we write 3 minus and 3 minus. Those two added together give us 6 minus. But remember, every compound has to equal 0 overall. So what does our total positive charge have to be? Total positive has to be 6. In this case, we need to spread that 6 out, not just to 2 places, but this time we spread it out to 3 places. So each of the coppers will get what charge? 2+. Okay? Now I'll let you know, not everybody has to draw out everything. At some point, you might get to the point where you're like, I don't need to draw out everything. I can just do all the math in my head. That's fine. But if you're not getting it 100% right, doing it all in your head, then draw them out. Okay? So this is a good tool to use until you've had lots of experience and know what you're doing. Okay? So for the rest of the class, we're going to see if we can get everyone to finish quiz number 3. Okay, I'll let you know if you haven't done quiz number 3. Let's see, that would be Andre, Will, Nevaeh's not here, Tristan's not here. You feeling like you could do quiz number 3? I know you've been away. So yeah, you'll need to do quiz number 3. Arna, you need to do quiz number 2. And Zidane, quiz number 3. Sean, Tavian, and Lena. Did you do quiz number 3? I feel like you did. Did I not write it down? Yeah, and I did not write it. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, hang on. You were here at the very end. So if you heard your name, you need to do quiz number 3. Once you have finished quiz number 3, you can get your test back. Okay? I just said if you finish quiz 3, you can get your test back. So if you finish quiz 3, you can get your test back.
Wait, so did I do it?
No,
Is that
it's with,
there?
yeah, it's back there. It's, some of them need prefixes, some of them don't. Okay? Okay. Okay, so I got Lauren, Kirsten, okay. Lauren, there we go. Other Sophia. Sorry. Will Patricio. Ryan.
Ryan, you please. Give me your test.
John.
On here.
Set the test.
Ron. Crochet. I think I went past yours already. So we'll start it. We'll start at the beginning again. Okay. Sophia. Yeah. There we go. And George. What's a pass? Passing is 50%. So you got proficient. Ah, Milan. Let me find yours. Milan. I'm gonna put that away because she's not here. Milan. Milan. There you go. Okay, I got Jade and Sophia. Sophia.
You got that right. What you got that right.
Oh, isn't it? Because everyone knows about
I must have done something wrong here. Let me look at that again. Okay, I'll check your actual bubble beat because I think there must have been like probably you erased something and it didn't erase all the way or something silly like that.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me check it for you. Okay, I'll grab it.
along with me. Like, I don't know if I left
To look for what?
like.
Oh yeah, you do that and I'll check your thing and then you can see it when you get back. Yeah.
Because no, it is a formula unit. It's not a polyatomic.
It's not. It does not charge on the outside. It's not the whole thing. That's
Okay. Brian. Thank you. You hand the test back when you're done.
Spencer.
What did
Can
I
I
get
go with
wrong?
Brian to look?
Yeah.
What did I get wrong for this?
You didn't show me charges in there, and it was also kind of hard to tell that it was alternate. Like this part kind of went like off the rails a little bit, and I couldn't tell if these were big or small, like small, big, small, big. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just not. It was not as nice as I would have liked it to be. Okay. Yeah.
What'd you get?
The unit we're doing right now does have a test at the end, so it'll be like all the quizzes smushed together. Hi.
How many points does this all cost?
Those are one each.
Oh, one each. Because like I got this right and then I got like one wrong, but then I
Yes.
got 3 of them.
Yeah.
3. Oh.
Yeah.
Smudgy's middle of that. And you were saying.
Okay. Now,
Okay, do you have a
where?
Go in the middle of the chest. Like,
Yeah.
you shake it.
Can I write?
Absolutely.
Okay.
What did you get?
Just return it here, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
You memorize the ions.
No, you just get to keep that.
What is that?
And in fact, you might want a pink one, which is over there. Yeah, don't take that one. Go take the pink one, which is over there. Thank you. You'll want to take the pink one, John.
So do we get to?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you do not need to memorize them. Right.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
I get what you're saying.
Hold on. Hold on. Oh, Brian, you silly boy. Okay. Set that aside. He circled one thing and bubbled the other. Zach, there you go. Okay. Hi.
Is this how you do it? Like this?
Yes. That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. Thank you.
But also, the morning thing you're flexible tomorrow or on Friday?
The morning thing is on Friday for grade nines.
Oh, okay.
All grade nines must be here Friday morning.
Oh.
Okay. Yes. Yes. You can come and get the test back. Yes. You will do, well, I should mark your 2 and then you can try number 3 while you're waiting. There you go. So this is like just on the borderline of proficient. So if you wanted to do corrections, because like proficient is 75, so you're like at 74. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to
When
do some
can I come in?
anytime you want.
Okay.
Okay. So after school or morning. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Hi.
And stuff.
That's what I thought. So that's what I'm including. Okay.